People will drive a long ways to go dancing to Spillville.
That was the hottest place to go.
This is one of the few standing ballrooms left in the state that's running.
Where are you going tonight? Oh, we're going to Inwood. We're going to Inwood.
The Inwood was always the crown.
Well, it started off as a piece of cement. That's where they had their dances at the start.
Then they decided that it was supposed to be a park. So then they built a makeshift bandstand. And so that went over big. People had some place to go. Again, they didn't have to drive a long ways, but they could just go and enjoy that. And from there on, they said, well, man, this is going so good, we ought to build a building. So they made the first section of the building, the long part. And so they enjoyed that. And then in about 1926, then someone said, man, we need a ballroom. And it's about 80 foot across, so it's big.
It's quite unique because it is in a circle, and so you have angles. The wood is cut into angles so that they all meet.
And it was a hard maple floor put in there, which was really what dancers liked. It was smooth, wasn't ruddy and lumpy and so forth.
And there were booths around the whole outside, and there was a stage where the orchestra played. The rafters were open, you could see up into the ceiling, and there was no insulation or anything, so it was just basically a summer place.
And of all the hundreds of ballrooms that are active today, it is quite a privilege to have a ballroom yet in our little town of Spillville.
People will drive a long ways to go dancing to Spillville.
They'd come down there for those dances. If it was a big name band, they'd be here.
At that time, there was wedding dances.
Thursday night, there was always a pay dance, which had famous bands like Tommy Dorsey or
Harry James, Lynn Kearns, Glenn Miller,
Sammy Jensen and Guy Lombardo,
Henry Charles, Wayne King, Lawrence Welk,
that was pretty popular them days.
Don Strickland, and oodles of people that came through here.
That would be 300-400 people there. You had to push your way through.
It was full. Some of those guys, you could not even walk or even dance.
If we've seen somebody a pretty good dancer on the floor, first thing we were dancing with them.
We go to dances and we'd dance with a girl, and next dance we'd dance with a different girl.
Yeah, it was not uncommon to dance with several different partners throughout the evening.
When we were younger, why, we probably never missed a dance. We'd be dancing with everybody we seen there.
And that's how you met. It was just the way it was.
I met her and I danced with her that night, and next night I had a date with her, and that's history.
It was a social thing. If you didn't go there, where were you going to go?
Oh, we're going to Inwood. We're going to Inwood. That was the hottest place to go.
Oh, that was like the best one. Always was. Spillville was always the crown.
It would be very devastating if something did happen to this Inwood Ballroom.
Oh, I think if something happened to Spillville, Inwood, the people would be devastated about it.
You're watching KCRG TV 9.
3 communities that flooded after the heavy rains earlier this week: Freeport, Spillville, and Fort Atkinson.
Muddy mess at the Inwood Ballroom.
The water crested at least a foot higher than it did 8 years ago.
Floodwaters even damaged the famous Inwood Ballroom.
Cleanup work is starting, but obviously a long way to go.
I received a call from the emergency management coordinator about 2 o'clock. We came back with a log chain to tie down the LP tank, and we needed to get out of here, and that was probably 35 minutes from the time that I received the call to we needed to be out of here. It was coming up that fast. The reason that it does flood here is we are next to the Turkey River.
They always flooded, and the Inwood was always one of the worst places that got flooded because it is in a low area.
I remember several floods, but it never got inside the building. The water was always on the outside of the building. It wasn't really to 93 that we recall that it came in on the floor and then got as high as it did.
In that time, there was about 2 foot of water on the floor.
In 2008, we had another flood.
There was 10 inches of rain in the area over a 2-day period.
That was 4 foot deep in the floor inside of the Inwood, 4 foot 4 inches. When you have that larger area, it doesn't come through and disappear. It comes through and it keeps behind it, and so it keeps spreading and flooding and growing.
Again, in 2016 here, we received 8.5 inches of rain in about a 5-hour period. There was 4 foot of water in here.
It flooded the whole buildings. I mean, it's flooded.
It was nasty bad. I mean, everything is black. Obviously, the power is cut off, so, you know, everything, the whole building is dark too, you know. It's unreal. The first thing that we did both times was the Kelmer Fire Department came down and hosed it down.
And they washed out this 200-foot building with water. And we got all of the sand, all of the mud out, and that, and wash it out. Then after that's out, we get squeegees and clean it out. Then you start with Clorox and you spray it again to disinfect anything that's there, and you do the same thing again. So it is a lot of work, and you wash the cupboards out, throw away your stove, you throw away your refrigerator.
Unbelievable amount to clean up. Unbelievable.
We were cleaning up for 3 days. We had to wash tables, chairs, everything, wherever the flood got in and ruined the equipment. Over a 3-day period, we had 256 people come volunteered to help clean up.
People from even farther away, people that had even never been here.
We had food, we had people, they would come with their boots on and their gloves and scrub.
They just came out and did whatever they had to. They didn't necessarily had to be asked once they heard about it. They were there to offer their services one way or the other. All these little towns are just so noted for that. They just come out in a time of need. It's just unbelievable.
And it was always a community, and people could have entertainment there.
Well, I think the local people are proud of it too. They don't want it destroyed.
It's just a shame when you don't have a place where everybody in the community can go to.
It's an institution, and I think the older it gets, maybe the more meaning it has, because it has survived.
You know, it puts a spark in everybody's eye, and they want to come back to the area, and they want to see it going.
You grew up there. You were there for the 4th of July. You probably played in Little League. You have a remembrance there, or your folks got married there. Whatever the reason, it is a drawing. It's like almost coming home.
Well, I think the Inwood, I think that'll survive for years, because the people in Spillville, they're pretty concerned about it always. They probably don't dance, but they still want that building to be there.
It's just a place to get together, and if you wouldn't have that, it'd be a big hole there.
It ain't like it was years ago, but it's still the place to go.
The building itself, this is the ballroom. This is one of the few standing ballrooms left in the state that's running, and it's an incredible building. I mean, I guess in itself is the building just speaks for itself.